Good morning. This boat build has gone over budget for a number of reasons. Some of them unforeseen, some of them conscious decisions that we've made to do things the way we want. One of the original must-haves when we decided we were going to build this boat was the ability to anchor. Our original thinking was we would use an anchor that I made back when I was in high school in welding class, and my parents used to use it on their houseboats. But we always knew that at some point we would want to upgrade to a windlass and a nicer anchor. Last year around this time we decided probably we should just do it right now and be done with it. So, talk about going over budget. When I started looking into polished stainless anchors, because this is going to be right on the front of the boat all the time, so I wanted something that looked nice, and a polished anchor roller and a windlass. I sure got my eyes open on what those cost, but again, we talked about it and we decided this is the way we want to do it. So let's just bite the bullet and put a anchor and windlass on the boat now. This episode is going to be all about that process. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your support and we love hearing your comments. Have a great day. Well, today I'm going to install this windlass. I was going to do it, today's Monday. I did some prep layout on Friday. I was going to get into it Saturday because the whole weekend was supposed to be dry. Woke up Saturday morning to rain, and it was kind of all day. It never did rain again, but we were right on the edge of a big massive band of rain. So today I got up and it says it's not supposed to rain, although I'm not confident. However, it just seems like this time of year, early May, it could rain practically every day. So I'm going to get into it. I've put the template where it goes, and what I have to do now before I start drilling holes is build up some more reinforcement on the underside of the deck. All it is 3/8 plywood and fiberglass. I'm feeling raindrops in my head. Isn't this wonderful? Up forward of that I had put some backing to mount a single cleat, which that plan's all changed now that I'm doing an anchor roller and a windlass. But so I've got marked on here, I'm going to put 2 layers of 3/4 inch plywood. It'll make the total deck thickness 2 inches, which the windlass says it should be mounted on something between 1.5 inches and 2 inches thick. I'm going to glue it in and some little brad nails to help hold it all in place and give some extra strength. I figure the main direction of pull will be forward against this cross brace, so it should be plenty strong. So I'll get into this reinforcing, and if this rain doesn't get stupid, I will start drilling holes in the deck. There's the mess of holes in the deck. This isn't something you want to change your mind and say, never mind, I won't bother. It's looks like Swiss cheese now. Well, the good news is it fits, and there's no holes left showing through the deck, so yay for that. Now I'll go down in below and, well, vacuum first. I didn't bother vacuuming until I made sure I didn't have to make any adjustments, and then I'll try mounting the motor to the underside, and I'm gonna remove it when I do the fiberglass work. So the reason I'm getting into this, well, besides just every job has to get done sooner or later, is I have to fiberglass a anchor locker, rope locker, and drains overboard and all that, and I want to get into that. So when I do that fiberglassing, I'm going to remove the windlass, and I'm going to put at least resin where the plywood is exposed, where the rope goes down the hole through the deck. It's going to be wet, and it's going to get the plywood wet. So I'm going to pull this out of here and resin that hole so it seals it up, so it doesn't soak up like a sponge every time the wet rope runs down through there, because I think that's kind of inevitable. More high stress boat work. So the windlass is there, the hole that the rope drops through is there, and so I'm working on making a place for the rope to fall and then drains overboard. And I did some cardboard template playing, and I ended up with this. And then I tried to take measurements related to the bow eye of where I needed to drill the hole, and my aim was to bring a hole right about at this line back here to drain this. And then I went outside, measured it as good as I could guess, and ran the drill through the hull, and as you can see, there's no hole there. It's down a little lower, and then I matched one on the other side. It's actually not a bad thing where it ended up. The concern for me, they tell you need a foot of fall from the windlass to the top of the pile of rope so it will tail without, you know, stacking up, backing up, whatever. And of course, right now there's 2 feet of fall, but by the time you get the rope, and especially when I have this stem here, most boats wouldn't have that. It's just the fiberglass hull. But the rope's going to kind of pile up here, and then it's going to start piling over and everything. And so yeah, my concern though, much as I want a decent fall, was that I didn't want to get this hole too close to the water line. It definitely doesn't want to be down there. So I had decided on this height here. I kind of figured that was a good compromise. Now when I went outside and eyed up where the water line will be and everything, again I tried to measure it where I was shooting for here, but I also was looking at it going, yeah, it looks plenty high above the water line. I think it's 8 or 10 inches above the water line. So I drilled the holes, and so much as it's lower, it's still ample distance above the water line, and this way it gives me another, I don't know, 1.5 inches of stacking space for the rope. So I guess it's a win. I'm kind of disappointed that I was that far off, but in the end, probably better than being that much too high, because then I would be really restricting my fall. So anyway, I will adjust my template and my marks to get a new floor in this anchor locker that will, I'm making it so it'll slope forward and then out the drain. And yeah, that's the plan. So now I can draw some new lines. First I made a cardboard template, and then I traced that onto a piece of 1/4 inch Lewmar mahogany to get my floor. Now right now it's a couple inches more than it's going to be, just to tie the 2 halves together. So then I made a cardboard template for the vertical and just transferred that to plywood. I'm a little bit fibbing there. I tested it once, made a couple minor adjustments, and this is my second attempt. So it still needs a little tweaking. The cardboard's, you know, an 1/8 inch thick, and this is 1/2 inch thick, so I'm gonna have to taper on like the angle of the hull where needed. I don't need it to fit, you know, perfectly. I just need it to fit close enough that I can put it there, and then I'm going to glass it all in. So it'll end up that that area down in there will be where the anchor rope goes, and any water from it will drain out those holes, which will be fiberglassed. Well, there I have it, ready to get into fiberglass. It's sloped downhill forward, so those drains are definitely at the low point. It's got probably about, I don't know, 3/4 inch of downward slope, even including having the boat sit a little low at the back. So I've got it just a couple nails into the stringer right here, and that's all that's holding it in place. But now I can start glassing it in. At the end of the day yesterday, I got the cloth matte resin in here, so it's all a waterproof locker. And then this morning I put little sleeves of matte in the 2 holes, the drain holes, and once that cures I'll clean them up. Right now they're a little long, so I could just handle them, And then after I clean them up, once they're cured, then I'll give them, that whole area, another coat, and that will be done. So it's almost where I can install the windlass and everything, and that'll be another job off the list. There is the finished windlass. It's beautiful, if I do say so myself. Wasn't cheap. Scary actually how much it was, but 44-pound anchor, 20 kilograms, so it should hold us in, you know, not obviously in a hurricane, but in a decent wind it should hold us. And sure beats lugging it up by hand. I'll show you what's going on under the front deck here. And there's the anchor locker. It's not ideal having this nice oak stem right down the middle, messes with it a little bit, but it works. The chain and rope drop down through the deck there, which I fiberglassed that hole so the wet rope and that wouldn't be soaking into the deck, and I fiberglassed everything down here, and there's two drains hiding way down in there. So what you do have to do, and I don't think it's a totally uncommon thing, is as you're bringing the line in, you have to come in here and organize it a little bit because it kind of piles up and then it jams. So we've kind of got a system now where you run some in, straighten it out, run some more in. And again, if you had maybe a much deeper deck, like in a trawler with a big, 6 foot of freeboard up at the bow, you'd have lots of fall, but I was working with limited fall. I put that floor with the drains as low as I could, and I wouldn't want them any lower. I haven't seen any water come in from the outside, but they're awfully close to where the water's curling off the bow, so it works. There's how the anchor and windlass look on the nose of the boat. It ends up, when you lower the anchor and it pivots down, it comes real close, but it doesn't hit. And it's also, I repositioned that bow eye so there's no issues with the anchor clearing the bow roller as you put the boat on. And it's closer than you'd think here, because actually when the trailer's on a slope like this and the boat's floating flat, it's pretty close. It comes in just a couple inches above it. So it works. It's a good thing I did it the way I did it. And yeah, it's a nice system. It all works, and it makes it easy for this old guy to handle a pretty heavy duty, beautiful looking anchor, and lets us do what we really enjoy doing. And one of the motivations in building this boat was the ability to be able to anchor and not be dependent on shore washrooms and other necessities. So that anchor, we've spent 4 nights on the boat, all 4 nights on the hook, and it held firm. Now we didn't have any crazy winds, but it's a good start.